Councilmember.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. I'll suggest a motion of option 2, which is the recommendation from the city manager and director of public works and public safety, excuse me. Option 2 would take the next lowest bid and see if that can be worked out, and in preference to the third lowest bid.
I'll second that.
So let me make sure I have this. The motion is to do option 2, which is, so it's really the option to this one, right? Or with the lowest bid. So it would be to engage the Kelly and Lemons firm provided at the cost proposal of $11,000 per month plus expenses, which would be $132,000 annually plus expenses. Now, the understanding is to do that, we have to, City Manager Coleman, can you clarify the process? So that's, the motion's on the table.
Okay.
So why don't we get a second and then do a discussion?
We had a
Is there a
second.
second?
Mr.
Is
Copeland.
Councilmember
Yeah.
Copeland seconded now? Is there any discussion? City Manager Coleman.
Yep. Mayor,
Councilmember Cardinal?
should point out the differences as considered $24,000 between option 2, second lowest bid, and third lowest contract bid.
City Manager Coleman?
Mayor, members of the council, just to clarify with that motion, we're recommending that you direct myself and the Director of Public Safety to engage the Kelly and Lemons, in this case firm, who provided that proposal, to make sure that they agree with that rate and understand the workload and the goals and expectations that we have of that position.
Yes, and then, so what
Then
happens
we
after
will
that?
bring, let's assume that Mr. Kelly wants to do the work at the price he talked about, we'll bring back a contract then for your review and approval.
Okay.
And if it, for some reason it doesn't fit, I guess you'd come back
You can
and
deal
tell
with
us
that
that.
at the time, yep.
And the idea, and what's the time frame we're talking about?
I'm not clear on, I don't know, because we'd have to contact Mr. Kelly's office and ask him if he's still in the game and what a contract might look like. So I'll let you know how that goes.
Councilmember Juniman?
That was basically my question, but it makes sense that you wouldn't know that if you don't talk to them, haven't talked to them. But I guess my combination question is, would we have to wait till the end of the year for transition then and still have to pay $15,000 a month to the current firm, or will that depend on what the response from Kelly is?
Mayor, members of the council, Councilmember Juniman, it's my understanding that Mr. Kinich is not asking for that increase if he works just through the end of the year.
Mayor, Council, I think they, what my conversation with Mr. Kinich is that he certainly wants to kind of carry out his obligation under the contract through the end of the year, so we would pay the $9,000 per month through December.
Thank you for the verification.
So there's a motion on the table. We're going to take on a vote on this, and then City Manager Coleman, I just want to make sure, that we're clear and that we get, when you have a report back, and how this is going to work. And I guess if that didn't work, we'd talk about it at that point, right? Yes.
Mayor, members of the council, I can certainly make contact with Mr. Kelly, myself, or Chief Schnell can as soon as possible, and we should be able to give you some kind of status report at our next meeting, if not before.
So I'm going to take the vote. I'm going to ask for all those in favor to say aye, and if there are anybody opposing to say nay. So all those in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, say nay. Okay. On a vote of 4-0, we will proceed with that option. And that's clear to everybody what that is? Okay. Okay, thank you. So that is number 6, and so we have number 7. I think that's you, Mr. Funk?
I'm going to actually take that one.
Ms. Coleman.
That's okay.
City Manager Coleman.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. I will have to say that Mr. Funk wrote the report, so, I'm just going to cover this because I think we have spent a great deal of time on this topic. We have met over the past several months with the leadership team and the council to develop the strategic plan for the city. The final step in this process is to formally adopt the plan, and as